All right, everyone, get ready for this one because today we're going to really deep dive into this crazy novella, Little Dementia Boy by Glenn Hobbs. You probably know him from Five Starcle Men, and his music is one thing, but this novella, it's really something else.
It is, yeah. One of the things that really struck me right off the bat is how Hobbes structures the whole story. These fragmented episodes, it's almost like you're right there in Dementia Boy's head experiencing this chaotic, kind of jumbled reality that he lives in.
It's true. Yeah. It's like we're right there experiencing his dementia with him.
Exactly. And then you've got Dementia Boy himself, right? This kid born in Sepultron, which okay, even the name is a little creepy, right? And he just doesn't seem to even notice danger.
Yeah.
You know, he's obsessed with this scallywag sepulchre creature and dreams of being a volleyball star. But then there are these hints of something darker underneath, like he has these hallucinations and drinks cough syrup on pizza.
Cough syrup on pizza. Oh man, I gotta ask, have you ever actually tried that combo? Because I'm thinking, no thanks.
I'm gonna have to go with a hard pass on that one. But, it makes you think. These little weird details that Hobbes throws in, it's like he's showing us that Dementia Boy's world is just not quite like ours.
It's like he's on a totally different wavelength.
Right, and it makes you question, from the very beginning, what's real and what's just in his head, you know what I mean?
Totally. And it's all happening while he's doing all this normal kid stuff, like riding bikes, playing baseball, even collecting clams off a cliff with this crazy cable system he rigs up. It's such a weird mix of the ordinary and then totally surreal stuff.
Yeah, it's like Hobbes takes these everyday childhood experiences and twists them just enough to make them feel kind of off. And I think that's one of the things that makes the book so hard to put down. You just never know what's coming next.
What about Dementia Boy's friends? Do they ever notice how strange he is, or are they just kind of along for the ride?
Well, there's Slammy, who can't tie his shoes, which I think is another one of those little clues Hobbes gives us about the kind of world Dementia Boy lives in. Even the people around him are a little different. But I think his friendships are important because they show us that even though he's so strange, he's still just a kid who wants to connect with people. He wants those relationships. But it seems like they always slip away from him.
Like Slammy moving away, and then Dementia Boy just retreating into this world of imaginary friends.
Yeah, it's actually pretty heartbreaking. It's like he's always reaching out, but something, maybe it's the chaos inside him, is holding him back.
And then, bam, he gets diagnosed with brain cancer. It's like all of a sudden, all those little weird things about him, the kaleidoscope vision, his strange behavior, they all take on this whole new meaning.
The story definitely gets darker at that point. His mom's trying to do what's best for him. She takes him to Hawaii, hoping for a fresh start, but the tumor just keeps growing. And it starts to feel like it's a physical representation of all the turmoil that's going on inside him. He tries to escape it, to find some sense of normalcy. Like, he tries surfing, snowboarding down this replica of Mount St. Helens, but it's always there, The tumor's there, warping everything.
And those custom glasses his mom gets him, they cost a fortune. But even they can't really fix his vision. Imagine trying to sleep with those things on. What a nightmare.
It's such a powerful image, right? Those glasses, they represent trying to fix something that's broken. But the tumor, it's like this deeper chaos that can't be solved so simply. And it makes you think, if that were you, how would you deal with that kind of reality? Knowing that your own body is betraying you like that.
I feel like that tumor becomes this metaphor for something bigger,
Yeah.
Like losing control, being trapped inside your own mind.
I think you're right, and you can't help but wonder if Hobbes is tapping into some of the anxieties of the time, this was the late 80s, huge technological changes happening. Maybe Dementia Boy's struggle is reflecting that, like those fears about being overwhelmed by technology, about losing our humanity to progress.
And then comes the ultimate escape, right? The big science fiction twist. Forget the glasses, Dementia Boy gets a brand new body. Tinfoil titanium, a completely rebuilt brain. All thanks to the National Aeronautics Society. Talk about an upgrade, right?
Yeah, it's like Hobbes is saying, okay, we've taken this as far as we can go. What happens when we push it to the next level? But even with this incredible new body, the dementia is still there. Perfect vision, but his mind's still fragmented. You have to wonder, can technology really fix us? Or are there some parts of us that are just broken beyond repair?
And that's where things get really interesting to me. Now we have this kid, this character, with all these superhuman abilities, but he's still struggling with all this stuff on the inside. So what does he do with all that power?
Well, that's what we'll get into next, because Dementia Boy's journey is really just getting started. Dementia Boy's story, it's like this crazy roller coaster ride through what technology can do, both good and bad. When we left off, he's got the superpowered body, right? But he's still fighting that dementia. And the thing is, the transformations don't stop there.
Okay, so let's talk about these reincarnations because, it's like he's constantly searching for a way to fit in, like to find a place in a world that just doesn't seem to get him.
Totally. He even gets the chance to have this totally mechanical body, like pure technology. But he doesn't want it. Instead, he picks this flesh-eating body, which, it's almost like a primal thing. Like, he needs to be connected to something real, something basic, even if it means pain, even if it's messy.
So it's not just about what his body's like, it's about actually experiencing the world in a way that feels right to him.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to that feeling of being alone that we see over and over in the story, even when he has this normal body, He can't escape what he's been through, his abilities, the way he sees things. He's still an outsider.
And then there's that whole cocaine empire thing.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, this is the same dude who can cure blindness just by looking at someone. How do we even get here?
Right, it's like, what? But think about it. This guy, he's got this huge brain, he's a scientific genius, but he also has this need to be in control, to test the limits. And the cocaine thing, it's dangerous, it makes tons of money, and for him, it's like another way to push those boundaries.
Like he's addicted to the chaos.
Yeah.
Armored helicopters, laser cannons, he's got connections to the DEA, he's basically unstoppable.
But even when the story gets really dark, Hobbs finds a way to make it funny, Like the way he describes the cocaine getting super strong and toxic because of the environment. It's kind of absurd, but it's also like a commentary on how our actions can have all these unintended consequences.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if even with all this power, Dementia Boy is still searching for something more, something that actually makes him happy.
And that's when the story changes again. He just walks away from the whole criminal thing. Maybe he gets bored, or maybe he realizes that real happiness doesn't come from money or power.
So what's next? Back to curing blindness.
Not quite. He starts this project extracting vanilla from rubber plants, which seems pretty random, but I think it shows that he's still super interested in nature, in creation, and in change.
But then he retires to a spaceship and starts planting psychotropic illuminating bombs on other planets to change how things look and feel.
Oh,
Okay, that's definitely not what I expected.
classic Hobbs, right? A mix of sci-fi and psychedelic stuff. But think about it, he's trying to change how other beings experience the world. It's like that need for control, just on a huge scale.
Like he needs the universe to make sense, even if it means messing with entire planets.
And it doesn't stop there. He gets obsessed with the core of Jupiter and how it could affect Earth and Mars. It's like he always needs a new challenge, something to figure out.
It's like he's thinking, okay, I figured out this planet, what's next?
Exactly. And that need to know, to go beyond what anyone else understands, that's what takes him to space. He wants to control whole populations, protect Earth from this polarized vortex thing, even travel to this galaxy called Gala, which is supposed to be full of resources. It's a huge plan, but it's also super risky.
Meteor showers, cosmic eruptions. It sounds like he's gambling with the fate of everyone on Earth.
And in a way, he is, because his actions actually lead to the end of human life on Earth. The atmosphere becomes toxic, these creatures called Southern Brights start popping up. It's all because of what he does, maybe because he didn't really understand what could happen.
Yeah, it's like a warning about technology, about how it could backfire on us, even when we're trying to do good things.
It's definitely one way to look at it, but Hobbs doesn't give us any easy answers, Dementia Boy escapes to this place called Solutron, which is near the third moon Trona. He's still surrounded by crazy technology, but now he's totally alone. He starts keeping this log, writing down his thoughts and experiences, and it's through these writings that we see what happens to him at the end.
That excerpt from the log, it's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like we're right inside his head, all jumbled and confused.
The way Hobbs writes is so intense there. It's like these vivid descriptions that are kind of creepy and disturbing, and it all shows us what's going on inside Dementia Boy, It's violent, there are these references to society, his thoughts are jumping all over the place, and you can tell that he's struggling with what he's done and with the fact that he's going to die.
And then he comes back to Earth. Everyone thinks he's a hero for getting rid of the Southern Brights, but he's this monster, and he knows he's going to die soon.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sad ending.
Yeah. It's like Hobbs is showing us both sides of him. He can create and destroy. He's like a savior and a monster at the same time. He's capable of doing really good things, but also incredibly destructive things. And even when he dies, he can't escape what he's done. It really makes you think, doesn't it? About like our own relationship with technology. We're always so excited for the next big thing, the newest gadget, but do we ever like really stop and think about what could happen, what we might be messing up by moving so fast?
That's a good point. I mean, look at Dementia Boy, right? He was so smart, knew all this crazy tech stuff, but it's like he lost control of it all in the end.
It's true. He wanted to push things forward to create all these wild experiences and explore space, but he ended up destroying everything. It's like a warning, but wrapped up in this really weird, often pretty funny story.
And that alien narrator, the one telling the story, they have such a different way of looking at life and death, right? Their whole society decided to slow down on the tech stuff and focus on living sustainably instead of just pushing ahead all the time.
Yeah, and it's not like Hobbes is saying the aliens are perfect or anything. They have their own problems too.
Yeah.
But the way they handle technology, knowing it can be good and bad, it's like a different way of thinking about all the stuff we create.
That last image of Dementia Boy is kind of sad. He's in a coma, just being studied by these alien scientists. It's like he's not even a person anymore, just some experiment for them to poke at.
It's powerful though, right? Like this guy, he was so brilliant, knew so much about technology, but in the end, he's totally helpless. And then the narrator is worried about a cover-up, that maybe the truth about Dementia Boy will get hidden. It just makes the ending even more unsettling.
This whole novella is like a puzzle, so much to think about. Glenn Hobbs created this character, this Dementia Boy, who is so messed up and complicated, but he stays with you. It makes you think about the good and bad side of progress and how strong the human spirit can be, even when it's all broken up inside.
Yeah, it's one of those stories that sticks with you. All those crazy images, the way Hobbes writes, the ideas he makes you think about. It's just a really unique experience. What was the most interesting part for you? Was it the science fiction stuff, what he's saying about society, or maybe the dark humor? Or was it something else entirely?
It doesn't really matter what you take away from it. Little Dementia Boy is definitely a story that'll make you think, maybe even have some good conversations about it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring.